Hello, my name is Puneet Kaur, and this is my Capstone project for the DocuSign CLM Implementation Consulting Accreditation Program. Before I get started, I'm going to read this use case. XYZ Corp currently uses a Salesforce environment to track vendor information and sales opportunities. An XYZ Corp sales representative should be able to generate a vendor contract from a Salesforce object using a standard template with a document generation form. They should also be able to upload a third-party vendor agreement using a document generation form. The document generation form should capture relevant vendor information from Salesforce fields that will either be merged into the standard template, stored in attribute fields, or used for workflow variables. XYZ Corp is also requesting that relevant data, document data, be passed back to the Salesforce object during the workflow process. The generated or uploaded vendor contract should be stored under the Salesforce object while leveraging a folder structure based on the object record type. Attributes should be automatically applied to the contract for searchability and reportability. Now, the solution that I have prepared, I'm going to demonstrate that. Right now, we are logged into the DocuSign CLM and we are acting as a sales representative. And we are on my main dashboard right now. Here we can see few different widgets. But we will get to it later, like towards the end of this presentation. This dashboard is actually meant to serve as an overview before you get into small details of these tabs. So in order to generate a contract, I'm going to go into actions in the top right corner. Now, since this is a shared environment with the rest of my company, you will see this other capstones here as well. But I am going to hover right here, which is the exact action prepared by me for this particular capstone project. I'll click on it and this will bring me to this page. Now the sales representative has to choose whether to upload a third-party contract or whether to generate a contract with the help of standard template. I'm going to click on the standard template first. Now it will take me to this page, which is the form, and I need to fill the information in this form. Effective date, that is today's date when I'm generating the contract. I will put the customer name as PQR LLC. Now this is a hypothetical case. Right now I'm filling the information. I can choose the payment terms either 30 days or 60 days depending on the contract. And here is the termination field, which is auto-populated. You can always change the information by editing it. I'll select the department. Here you can see the drop down. I'll select legal here. And the name. Now this is the name which is actually going to represent the customer. This is the hypothetical name I'm writing here, but the email I'm going to use here is mine because for the sake of this demo, I want all the emails and tasks to be assigned to me. Now I've populated all the information here and I'll click next. This is building my document review. Now here is my document. And the information that I filled, as you can see here, because I've filled in the customer name field PQR LLC. So you can see here, this is the cover page, Master Services Agreement between XYZ Corp and PQR LLC. Now all the information related to address can also be seen. Now the effective date is the same date when we are generating the contract, because that is what has been configured. The contract price, payment terms, which we were populating it in the form, information related to termination. And when I scroll down, you can see the signature block, but this block is actually blank right now because it is yet to be signed. Now we are generating this contract for the purpose of signature. Now, if in case I want to change any information, I can always go back because this is the preview. But right now, it seems all good. So I'm going to save it. I've got this notification and I'll see where my document has gone. I'll go to the Documents tab and where did it go? It is in the CLM Capstone, Puneet Capstone, which is my folder, and in the generated MSA. Now here, BQR LLC was the name of the customer, so I can figure out that this was my contract. I'm going to open this up. Now this is the document that has been generated, which we could see in the preview also. The same document has been generated right here. And here in the left side, you can also check the attributes. Now these attributes, the address, you can see all populated over here. The status is currently in process. Now, while I generated this, and after this document has been generated, I have received an email. I can either check the email or go to the Tasks tab. That is, here are the tabs, and my Tasks tab is right over here. I'm going to click this tab. And here you can see the name of the task, choose the next step. Now, as per the use case that we read in the word template here, it was the requirement then that when we are generating a standard template, the contract should go for approval firstly to the legal. So this is the task of the legal person has received this email. He can either check this task tab to check whether he has any tasks assigned to him, or he can check his email. Now the legal person is going to review this document, and then he will see what he can choose with his available drop downs. Now the legal person wants to first edit the document. While reviewing this, he finds out that no, this document needs to be edited. So I'm going to select this option, edit document, and add a comment. Please edit the contract. Now, either the legal person can edit the document or he can assign this to contract editor. Now, let's see what happens after we complete this. Here, you can see that we have received a task, edit document. Now, this task has been received by the contract editor. The contract editor will also receive one email to edit the contract, and he can see the comments also. Please make the required edits, and he can check the contract by going into this URL. I click the URL, and here is the document the contract editor has received. Now, being a contract editor, I'm going to review this. And now I see that I want to remove this section. So what am I going to do is I'm going to go to actions. I'm going to check out first. Now this functionality is actually to freeze the document. This locks the document here itself to avoid any multiple versions of this. Now once it is checked out, I'm going to download the file to make any edits. I'm going to open this up, enable editing. Now the section that I wanted to remove was section number 9. I'm going to review this, remove this, and click save. I'll go back. I'll go to the actions again, check in and out, and check in. Now here we are going to upload the document. I'll select this and add a comment, deleted a section, and click save. Now I have successfully checked in the document, and I'm going to complete the task right over here. Now, once the editing has been done, the contract will go to the legal again to make any other choice. He can either check his email and go back to the URL to check what else has to be done, or he can go to his tasks tab and check if he has received any task. Now I know that the contract has been edited. I can also check in the activity, completed the step. Please edit the contract. And I'm going to review this and see the changes that have been made. Now since the document has been edited, I want it to go ahead for the negotiation. For that, I want to select the second option, send for external review. This external review is the customer who is going to review this contract. Now I'm going to open up the email to check. Yeah, I've received the email. Now I am here acting as a external reviewer, and external reviewer is going to receive an email, contract for negotiation. He has received this as the subject line, and here is it is written, please review the document and return with comments or an updated version. I'm going to click this. Now I will review this document being an external reviewer. And in case I want to make any edits, I can always go ahead, click next and edit the document. But for now, I'm going to skip this step because I think it all seems good. I'll skip this step and mention any comments. Looks good. And here I'll finish this up and complete my review. Now let's see what happens. I'll check my tasks tab, being a legal person. And I will see that I have again received one task. Choose the next step. Now, once the legal has reviewed, I can review what has been done. I can check his comments that everything looks good. I can also check my email. Now, these are the emails that I have received while doing this workflow. Contract is edited by the contract editor. So this was the step. Then the contract editor edited the contract. Now this email was also received. It was completed on standard template. Again, the email that is received by the legal person. And here the subject is contract is completed without document. Without document means he has not edited anything. And as per the comments also, the external reviewer says that it looks good. So I will choose the next step. I can either click here or I can click in my tasks tab, choose the next step. So I clicked over there and here I can see the comments looks good. I can view if I want more activity, what all has been done here. And now I'm going to choose the third drop down, that is send for signature. Now let's see what happens. I will see that the legal person over here has not received any tasks. Let us check the another email. Yes, I have received an email for signature. Here, the email has been received by the external party because this was the email I have given for the external email. I'm going to review the document by clicking review document. I'll select I agree to use electronic records and signatures. I'll click continue, then start, and it has taken directly to the signature block. I click right over here and see that it has created my signature. I'll adopt and sign. There is some problem. Just let me check. Next, sign, sign here. Yeah, now it is done. And now I'm going to click finish. You're done signing. I'll continue. And this shows that you have signed, you have finished signing. And now I'll go back to the tasks tab to see if being a legal person, whether I have received any task or not. No tasks over here. Let me check the email first. I have received two emails. One says that the external person has viewed for signature. I can review the document. The another email says for signature. Now this requires the signature of the XYZ Corp representative, the signatory of the XYZ Corp. I am acting as a signatory and I'll review the document for the signatures. I will click continue. I will click start and sign right here. I can see the other party has signed. So this, I think this takes some time to get loaded. I will wait for this sign to go. Yeah, now it's done. I'm going to click finish once I sign. No thanks. You have finished signing. Let me see if I have received any other email. Yes, I have received the email and I can see that the document has been completed. I can view completed document to see the signatures. Here is my document. And I can see, yes, both the parties have signed the document. The document is now complete, is also shown right over here. And now I'll click close. So the document has been signed and let me check the workflow. I'll click admin. I'll go to workflows. And I will check the activity. So this was the name of the customer, PQR LLC, and the status is completed, which is good. Now this is one scenario. Now I have covered that if a document is generated and the standard template was selected for generating the contract is going for the approval directly to the legal. And there the legal makes three choices depending on the requirement. And once the document is signed, the workflow is completed. This is the first scenario. Another scenario I'm going to cover is regarding the third party upload. Now let me go to the actions again, create contract. I will click instead of standard template, I will click third party upload. Now here it says drag and drop here. Now since this was a third party upload, I will have to upload the third party contract, which is in my system. But we need to fill out some information. Just a hypothetical data. I filled out the information in this form and I'll click save. Now here you can see the difference that we are not generating a contract. Instead, we have uploaded the third party contract. And again, I'll go to Documents tab to see where the document has gone. It has gone right here, again in the same folder, generated MSA in my Capstone folder, MNOP LLC. Now this is the third party upload document. Now, as per the use case requirement, which is given in our Word template, which I was reading before. Now, as per this use case, once the document, third party document is uploaded, the document goes for approval. Instead of going directly to legal, it first goes to the sales representative or sales manager. Now, let me check if any email has been received. Yes, the email has been received. It says approval required. Contract is ready for review. Thanks. Now, being a sales manager, I'm going to click this URL. Let me check if I had received any tasks as well, being a sales manager. Yes, the task says sales manager approval. And one more thing I would like to show here is that I can always go to the dashboard. Puneet Capstone dashboard, since this was mine, configured by me specifically for this Capstone project. And here also, I can see instead of going to these tabs, I can save my time and directly check my task in this widget, my tasks. So moving back to where I was, I need to approve this document being a sales manager. I look into this document and I think that this seems to be incomplete. And so instead of approving, I decide to reject this document. Now here is the scenario where I'm trying to cover the exception path. I'm rejecting the document and marking this as complete. Now let us see what happens. Now the person who submitted the contract receives a task which says choose the next step. Now let me see what is the step that needs to be chosen. And I can see in the activity that the contract has been rejected on sales manager approval. Let me check if I have received any email. And yes, I have received the email. Being the contract submitter, I can see the email that the following contract has been rejected. Please review and select the appropriate next step. Now let me check what I can choose right over here. I can either send it for the approval again by making some amendments or cancel and end request. Now, in case I want to cancel this request, let's see what happens. I'll mark complete. And now I'll go to the tasks tab again, being a contract submitter, and see that there are no more tasks. And since there is no task, let me show you how it looks in my workflow activity. Now here you can see MNOP LLC, the third party upload that I made. This workflow has been completed. Now it has not gone to the signature step at all. Any other step like legal review or external review or signature step, the contract has ended right here because the contract submitter actually decided to cancel request. Once the contract is cancelled, the workflow gets completed right there. So similarly, in case the third party upload, in case of the third party upload, had I chosen the option to approve it, so instead of uh, rejecting, in case I had chosen to approve it, it will it will next uh, go to the legal review, because as per the use case, it requires that once it is sent to the sales manager for approval, it will then go to the legal for review. So the similar steps will be repeated again, and the workflow will be completed. So there are multiple uh, scenarios that can happen, uh, which I have tried to cover over here, being selecting a standard template or selecting a third party upload, or in case the contract is rejected, what exception path was taken. So I have tried to cover these steps. Now let us move on to how I have configured the workflow from the backend. Firstly, I'm going to show you document generation. For that, we will have to go to the admin, where I'm already in the admin tab. I'll go to document generation, and I'll click forms to show you the forms that I have created for this project. This is my form PK. I named my form as XYZ Corp form. I can always change the form from here. This is editable. I can give the description as I've given Capstone description. Now this was the form created by me. We can, as per the requirement, add the fields by clicking on to add field and choose the type of the field. Now, suppose I wanted the effective date. I chose this text field, and I wanted to use the submission date. And so while we were filling out the form, you could see that I had that you could see this date, which is the date the form is submitted or generated. So that was because of this configuration. We could have used any specific date, or we could have left it blank. And here's the date format that we can select. We can either mark it as required user input, because of which there is a star mark you can see here. We could also write any any advice, any suggestion how to populate the field. I can write any if I write anything, date the contract is active, you can see there is this button which shows exact text which I have mentioned. So this is how we write the help text. Similarly, the other fields have been created. Now there is one more thing I want to show, that in the document generation, we will go to forms library, and you can see different forms here, and I will go to my form, customer address details. Now, what is the usage of this? The thing is, when we want to create multiple forms as per the requirement to generate multiple contracts, we cannot, it is very time taking if we add field every single time, and we know that that uh, field is going to repeat again and again. In order to save the time, we can always use the form library. Now, right here, I have made a form, a small form related to address details, where I have added a section and then added these fields. I added this section, named it, and like address details, and then added these text fields right over here, except this, which was a drop down field. Now, this drop down field is also actually been selected uh, from one of the attributes, which I will come back to this thing again. For now, I'm going to show you the form library part. Now, in the forms, what happens? Yeah, I was right over here while I was in the form. This is the form that I was showing. And in case I want to add any step, any particular fields, then we can go to add field. We can click library field. And here I can make a choice of which form uh, fields I want. And so this, I have chosen a field from the library, and I can select in the icon of address details, because in the address details, these were the fields and I want these fields to be added in my form. I don't want to add these separately, like individually. So instead, I use this step, click this and apply. So this is how it works. I've tried to show you the form and the form library. And now I'm going to show you document generation configuration. Now here is the configuration. And this was the configuration name, MSA config. I have named this configuration. We can name anything as we like. And then I have added these templates, third party upload and standard template. In the third party upload, we have configured this form, third party upload form. And I think I forgot to show you this third party. I will show you this separately right away after showing you how I have configured. Okay. Then moving to the standard template, I have configured the form as well as the template. We can always change it. Now you can see the green tick mark because I have selected this form, and this is how I have configured. The form was configured, the template was configured. Now this is the most important step because everything is going on because of this workflow, and I wanted to launch this workflow created by me, CLM workflow PK, because I gave this name to my workflow, and I'm going to show you this right now. Then one more thing, where will you use this configuration? I want to use this in a specific location, which is if I go to CLM Capstones, my Capstone, and I want it right over here, that is generated MSA. So when my document was generated, I went to the Documents tab and showed you where my document was. So it was because of this, because I have configured in the document generation configuration. And there is this option that you could also run your configuration in the debug mode. It will generate XML debug file with your document. Yeah, I was going to show you my third-party upload form as well. Let me show you the difference between the forms, standard template form and the third-party upload form. Now, both the forms are actually same. You can see this is the standard template form and here is my third-party upload form. Both the forms are same except for this field, standard template question mark, and this field you could not see while populating the information while we were generating the form. This is because I have marked this field as hidden from the user. Now, when I move to the workflow to explain how I have made the workflow, I'll get back to this. But before that, I wanted to show you the difference between both the forms. Now, here also, the standard template has been checked, but here there is no check. This was checked because this is the standard template. Now, let's move on to the document template with merge tags. How the information that I populated in the form was actually populated in the document. That was because if I go to the MSA template and open this file, now this information you can see XYZ Corp and this expression, this is actually the merge tag. Because of these merge tags, the information that I was filling out, that I was actually populating in the form was actually reflected in this contract because of these merge tags. And this merge tag, where has this come from? This has come from in the form, there is a tab form preview and merge tags. So we have copied tags and pasted it in our template and then uploaded it and then configured actually with our document generation configuration. And this is how the information gets populated because of these merge tags. Best practice. As you can see here, these folders, best practice is to create folders category wise. For example, CSV files can be put in one folder. Like I have put the CSV files in the admin folder. We can put the email settings in one folder, generated contracts in one folder, and so on. So you can see all the generated contracts have been put in one folder. Now I'm going to show you the usage of document attributes. What are the attributes? As you can see, this was the document. Yeah, one more thing. When the document was generated and it was signed, it was converted into PDF. But when it was a Word template, you could check the attributes right here. Address, all the address attributes have been populated here. Now, how this has happened is we will go to admin, then documents and folders, attributes, I'll see that these are actually the attributes created by different people. This was the actual attribute, address, and general details. I'll open up. Now I have created this attribute address and added the fields street, city, state, and postal code, and selected the field type, marked it as required. Similarly, I have created another attribute called general details. Now here I have added general fields like effective date, customer name, customer email, sign date, department, and status. I have selected the field type and marked the required type accordingly. Now I am going to move on to the workflow, which is the most important step, I would say. Now, instead of activity, we are going to configuration. The workflow configured by me was CLM workflow PK. This is the workflow created by me. I'm going to zoom this. And here you can see different steps. By steps, I mean these small square boxes. In these lanes, you can also see these lanes. This means that we have categorized the steps into different lanes to make it more legible. Now I added these steps. As you can see in the left corner, we have steps tab, and another is we have variables tab. These steps we have added by searching the exact step that we wanted to add, like update variable, and dragging and dropping it. Similarly, we have added these connectors. These are called connectors, which if you hover over this any particular step, you can always create a connector. Now these are the lanes. For example, the first was document generation and folder creation. These lanes I have used to make it more understandable, because this is the best practice that we can use lanes or groups to separate the related steps from the other. Another best practice is to use a suitable prefix while creating any variable. For example, I'll move to the variables. We can always create a variable depending on our requirement. And any variable that we create, we can use any prefix like v department, v output, and so on. Now, I'm going to describe this. Start and this, and then the first step that we added was related to initializing variables. Now, I have used these variables, and as you can see, these are connected to the params. Params are actually what all information was put in the form, which is actually our document itself. So in the first step, we have initialized variables wherein we can connect the variables that we create with the field value in the form that we had created. Now these are the variables connected to the field value, which was in our form. Params, template field data, and here you can see customer name has been linked to customer name variable that was created by us manually. Similarly, customer root folder. We have configured this. We have linked this folder, this particular variable, with the exact location where we want the document generated to go. Similarly, contract status, we have manually uh, added the value because we want the contract status to be in process unless it is signed. Another step is to show the customer name. We have used this expression. This is actually the variable of the customer name, because once the document is generated, we want that it is reflected with the name of the customer. Now, the next step, create folder, because we want now the folder to be created with the name of the customer and to fall all the documents to fall in that folder. And so we have configured the parent folder, that is the customer folder root. We had already linked this particular variable to the exact location. So we have just selected here the variable created by us. You can see this green check mark because we had selected this. And then we want these files to move in one location. So we had to put this step. Then everything was successful, updated, success. And then we want the attributes to be applied. Now this step is added to initialize the variables for attribute mapping. For the attribute mapping, we have here selected the variable. This is the variable created by us, that is street. I'll show you. Here, street has been selected. That is the variable created by us. And this is the params value. We have connected that variable with params, template field data, and street. These similarly, the other fields have been linked to the params value. So all these variables, as you can see here, are created by me, and I can always select this relevant variable and link it to the params value. Then the next step, I have grouped this particular step, applying attributes to make it understandable, to make it, more legible. Now here in the next step, you can see every attribute. As before, I was showing you this workflow, I showed you how the attribute was created. Now this is the same attribute that we created, like customer name. These are the name of the attributes created by different people. And this is my attribute field. So the customer name is in the general details attribute. And that is why there is a green tick here, because I selected this and I connected it to the variable that was created by me. Similarly, the others. Now the attributes were applied. Now update variable from CSV. Now for the purpose of the demo, I have already opened up the CSV file. This was the CSV file actually that I have downloaded it from the DocuSign CLM itself. And here you can see the location also, upload CSV. It was using a path that is in my folder of Puneet Capstone. I had put a CSV file, and that is what I have selected right over here. Now we have a drop-down field named department in the form. If you remember, there was a field called drop-down. When we select any department, this step helps us find the sales manager and legal person corresponding to that department. Now, if I select legal, it has, it helps us find the sales manager. So you can see this email ID. I have used mine, but these can be other email IDs as well. Now, accordingly, if it goes to sales manager and the email will be received by this person, otherwise the legal person. So this is the usage of the CSV file. Now, uh, it has moved on to the next step, that is the decision. Now, if you remember, while I was showing you the workflow that was going on while I was generating the contract, there was a decision called choose the next step. Now that was because of uh, oh, I'm sorry, that was the choice field, but actually this is the decision field. So in this decision field, uh, when we had created a form called standard template XYZ Corp form, and there was another form called third party agreement. And if you remember, I showed you a field. I had shown you a field called standard template question mark. There it was a checkbox here. This is not checked because this is a third party upload form, and the other one is checked because this is a standard template. So this works actually because of this step, decision step. Now there is a condition that has been set for this. That is, if we select the standard template and check it, which is actually equal to true, because the system always reflects the check mark as true. And if we click it save, it will send directly to legal. You can see this arrow. It is sending directly to legal for making the choice. Otherwise, if had we chosen the third party, it will be sent to sales manager approval, because this was what was the requirement in our use case. Now I'll show you the arrow, this connector. This is sending it for the sales manager approval. So here was the step. That is decision for this. Now moving on to the other step. This is find and load config eForm into workflow. Config eForm is actually the email settings. So when you see the email that has been received and you see any email subject line and the body of the email, this is all because of this step, config eForm. I'll show you. In the admin tab, below the document generation, there is a option called eForm. If you click this button, email settings can be created. Now my email settings, once the settings have been created, we can always go to documents and change its location. It is in my email settings folder, and this is the task assignment email settings. Now here is the subject line that I wanted to be reflected, and the body and the approver instructions. And this is what has been done by this step. So that particular email settings I have selected over here, config eForm, email form. This is the variable created by me. And this is the document. This is actually the path where I just showed you the task assignment email settings. That is, right over here. CLM Capstone, Puneet Capstone, and email settings, which is in the admin. Now, update variables. Now, those were the variables that have come from the email settings. It went to sales manager approval. Now, this is the approve step for the sales manager approval because the third party was selected in the decision step. Here you can see, please approve. We wanted to write the instructions for the sales manager. Please approve or reject this third party agreement so that it can be sent for legal review. Now, this is the submitted by, that is the inbuilt variable and subject line approval required. And here you can see the email body. This body is because of the config e form. And that is what this variable shows. We wanted it to be dynamic. And this is the system link. And this system link means the URL will be shown to the sales manager so that he can click to it and check and review the document. So then here you can see the rejected connector, because if the sales manager rejected the contract, it will move to the contract submitter to make the choice. Now he will choose whether he wants to send it for the approval again or cancel and end the request. For that, we have configured two options: send for approval, cancel and end request. Now this was the exception path that I tried to show. Now in case he had cancelled the document, the sales manager canceled the document, and the contract submitter chooses to cancel the contract, the workflow will be completed there itself. And before that, it will just update the contract status as cancelled. And you can see the status in the attributes. Then if the sales manager had approved it, you can see this connector. It is moving on to the legal choice. And had we selected in the decision step the standard template, it would have moved directly to the legal choice. Now, this choice, the legal that has to make, firstly, we selected this params, which is our document form. We want the legal person to compare the document with the previous version. So if any editing has been made, he can always check it by comparing feature. Then this is assigned to a user legal. This is the same thing which was used in the CSV file. The system knows now where the legal person is, that is his email ID. Now we have configured three options. Now you could see when we had to make a choice being a legal, there was this drop-down edit document, send for external review, and send for signature. It was because of this configuration. Again, the same task assignment email settings, and we have added this email body. And now if the contract chooses to edit, if the legal chooses to edit the document, it will move to the edit contract step. That is, he wants to choose who will edit the document. Please make the required edits. Initialize output with comments. We have linked this output variable with the edited by contract editor because the contract editor was chosen to make the edits and step comments so that he can write the comments while he edited the contract. Then once the document is edited, it again moves to the legal to make the another choice. So the next option that he chooses is the send for external review. So therefore this connector. Now there might be a scenario that the external, when it is sent to the external review, it can be cancelled and it will again move to the legal. There can be a failure due to any reason, and so it will again move here to the legal for making any choice. Or because of the timeout session or any timeline issue, the contract was expired, it will again move back to the legal. But in case the legal, the external reviewer completed his review with a document, that means he had edited something, it will be, it is because of this, this step, and it will again move to the, after he has reviewed and the document is reviewed, it will move back to the legal. So now, in case it was without document, that in case he did not make any edits, it will again initialize output with comments, that is these this contract will again move to the legal for making the next step, for choosing this next step. And now the third choice that the legal makes is for send for signature. So you can see this connector, which is coming to send for signature. And here we have selected legal because we want, because we know that this has come from the legal. This is the sender. Recipient, there are two recipients. First is customer email, another is legal. Now customer is the external party signatory and legal is XYZ Corp signatory. We can always renumber it. This is because of the configuration that we made in the DocuSign e-signature, which I'm going to show you right after this workflow. Then subject is for signature. Please review and sign the contract for the name of the customer. Documents, again, the same document, that is our form. Signature ordered, we have ordered the signature. Signature ordered XML. We have selected this. The next step is update documents description, document keywords, that is show signed description column. Now we want the description to be shown as signed once the document is signed. So if we see our document, here you can see the description as signed. This is what this is reflected here because of the configuration we have made here. Show signed description column. Another step, next step, we have configured the sign date with the date the party signs the document, that is the current date, and the contract status. We want it to be complete. once it is signed by both the parties. And again, the attributes have been linked with the variables. And finally, our workflow finishes. So we have covered the workflow as well now. Now I'm going to show you how the integration was done with DocuSign e-signature. Now we'll go to App Switcher, and instead of CLM, we will click e-signatures. Now you can see we are in the DocuSign e-signature. Previously, we were in the DocuSign CLM. Because of the app switcher, we have now moved to e-signature. Now we will go to Settings tab for making the configuration. We'll scroll down. We are seeing these left side options given here. And here you can see document custom fields. We'll click that option, and these are the custom fields created by different people. Since this is a shared environment, now we can add a custom field as per our requirement. Since my requirement was related to signature and sign date, I created the fields accordingly. We can always filter it out. I will click sign here because this was the type I actually used. And I will look for my name. Here is my name, Puneet Kaur, and I'll click this custom field. I had given the name of this field. Then I selected the type of this field. Then I marked it as shared. And this is the autoplace text. Now this autoplace text is actually the unique text, or we can say expression, because due to this text, the document in the document, the signature will be placed in a specific place. I'm going to show you the word template, how this happens. Now this was my template. I've already opened up in my downloaded local version. I'll move down below. And what happened is I have marked this as the autoplace text. And in my document, if I make the text black, you can see this configuration. This is sort of a merge tag. S means signatory, 2 means the sequence in which the sign would be made. Now we want the first signature to go to customer. We want the customer to sign first, and then we want XYZ Corp to sign second. Now 1 and 2 reflects the recipient number to specify the specific order in which people should sign. And after we do this configuration, we hide it from the user like this. So this is how this field configuration was made. This custom field was made. I'll go to document custom fields again, click filter, date signed, apply. This is the another custom field that I created. I'll go to my name date sign, and similar thing was done over here. I named it, I selected the type, marked it as shared. There was this formatting, and again, auto place text. Here you can see this was the date signed. One means again the order, the specific order. So that means if this person signs, this the sign date will appear. And this, all these edits that we are making, we save it and upload it. And therefore, if I move back and move to CLM again, after making those edits that I just showed, I uploaded that file. I checked in the file in my folder, Puneet Capstone, MSA template, and I mentioned the description with merge tags and signature settings. So those were the signature settings. Now I have covered the integration with DocuSign e-signature. I will now move on to the user management. I'll click admin to go to the user management. Here is the user management. I'll click users. Here you can see the list of all users. I can search a particular user with the name from here. Now I'll write my name. You can see the permission profile as CLM admin. And if you have the permission, you can also add or edit any information. We can create a new task group. From here, task groups, I'll click task groups. We can create a new task group like sales team or legal team. Now, for example, uh, I think my mouse, just give me a moment. I'm refreshing it so that I can scroll properly. And now I'm able to scroll again. So I was going to show you the example. Now we can create new task group like depending on our requirement, like I wanted to create a sales team. So I'll click here. I will open. Yeah, here this is open. If we scroll down, you can see this. If we scroll down here, we can always assign users by clicking on assign users button. Now here my name is reflected and there is a check mark in automatic dispatch, and I can always assign any user. For example, I have selected Elisa, and if I click apply, and here I can always mark check. And this is how task group is created. For now, I have just cancelled this. And now I will move to how to deploy, or as in the requirement in the use case, there was mentioned that we should successfully be able to demonstrate steps to promote the solution to another environment. For that, I will go to account management and deployment. Yeah. So it will take us to this page where you can see that we can name our deployment package. I can give any name and I can give any relevant description. Then I want these information to be included. So I have ticked, that is, I have included the account settings, included the account branding preferences, and the navigation tabs, menus, and toolbars. And here we can select okay, you can see these different tabs. We can then go to these tabs and select what we want to bring over to the new production environment. Now, suppose I select this folder and I'll click to the parent folder, select this, and here you can see that this folder has been selected. That is, I want to bring over this to the new production environment. Then I will see if there is any attributes that I have made. Yes, address PK, general details PK. I've selected that. We can select any groups if we have created, forms. So I'll select the email setting forms that I created, smart rules, reports. Then I will select the report created by me, like Puneet Capstone attributes, these 3 reports that were created by me. I selected those. In workflows, this is the most important, that is this workflow, CLM workflow PK, any task group, any reminder templates, and this is how we select. And then choose this storage location. So all these things that we select move to a specific location which acts as storage. So here the storage location is all access. Now let's see what happens if I save. I'll go to documents. Then here users folder, all access folder, I can see there's a new package. I actually didn't name it. So it has now come to new package. And there was another package that I created. So it was named as Puneet Capstone package. You can name it as you like. And this is not it. We will also receive one email. So I will check this email and you can see here configuration package is ready. We can view the package. Now this is how then we can deploy to whichever production environment we want. Another thing that we can do for the deployment purposes only, we can go to admin, then we can go to workflows. Actually, my workflow is already open. So we can always, whatever workflow we have created, whatever workflow we have configured, we can always go to the export button. And here you can see export as PNG or export as JSON. We can export JSON, the workflow into JSON and import it to any environment. If you want to save an image of your workflow, you can save it by exporting it as PNG. It will show you the exact image of this workflow. Now, another thing that I want to show you is how the how the customer administrator can update the solution post go live. Sorry. So all the updating things, all the things that we update will be done by going to the admin tab. The workflow can be changed. This is the most in-depth way of changing that. So this workflow can be changed. This we have covered. We went over to the document generation. E-forms also, we went over to this. E-forms can be used to send those, notification emails. We can directly go into workflow and change the email body. Like from here, we can change the email body and the subject line. And then, for example, if in future, after going into production, there is any change in the workflow, we can change the workflow in the UAT environment and export it as JSON and import into the production. Now, another thing that I want to cover is the reporting. Now, once I go to the reporting option, this tab, you can see I have created 3 reports in my name, contract status. Now this, my my use case. Here you can see the requirement. XYZ Corp must be able to report on how long it takes for the contract review workflow to be completed. They must also be able to report on the contracts currently under review, as well as the stage in the review process for each of the contracts. In addition, XYZ Corp will need to report on the various attribute fields assigned to each contract. Now, I have tried to cover these 3 requirements in these report. Now, I have also mentioned it in the description. Firstly, I want to show you the contract status. Now, here you can see the contract status. There is one cancelled document, there is one completed document, there is one in process document. If you want, we can check which was the cancelled document. So this was it, the third party upload. This was rejected by the sales manager and so cancelled. And similarly, we can check the completed document as well. These are the completed documents and in process. We can always edit it by clicking to edit button. I'll move back to all reports and show you the another one. Now this is the attributes report. You can see these different columns. And I'll show you what happens when I edit. I have selected this month changes. You can select it as you want based on your requirement. Now this is created by, I have, since this was a shared environment, I've used my name because I want to show only my attribute report. Now, if I click to this settings, here we can customize the columns. We can check the columns that we want to be reflected. So here you can see the check marks. Now, these are the attributes. Now, I'll move back to another report. Full completion time. How long does it take for contract review workflow to be completed? This report shows the same. You can see these different columns, and the most important is the duration. Now, this is the time taken exactly to complete the workflow. I think I have covered all the things. Now, if I show you my dashboard, and my dashboard, Puneet Capstone dashboard. In my dashboard, I can see that I have no tasks remaining. I can access my recently accessed documents. So this is the widget that I added it from here. And here is the report of the contract status. Just now I showed how the contract status report was reflected, how that was made. And here you can see the bar chart. One cancelled, one completed, one in process, and none. So this can be, used. Uh, this option can be used to add the widget, and you can always arrange it in the manner you like. So I think I have covered all the things. Let me check if I am not missing anything. I have talked about document generation, e-forms, workflows, attributes, user management, account settings, deployment, navigation and actions. We can go to navigation and actions, and how the actions button was created. I can show you this also. I went to the actions menu. I created a new action, and here enable the button. This was the action created by me, create contract PK, and I enabled the button. And so this was reflected. Now here, I think I have covered all the things. Thank you for your time. Thanks.